Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Boiler Room. All had a decent break. Trust you are all well. It was a Memorial Day weekend in the United States. So if you are in the U.S., I hope you had a great holiday. Now, one of the sectors that I also started dipping in were these Chinese stocks. I've been looking for these things to make a low, and I think this is what I think we're starting to see that. I started buying BABA last week. I started buying the BABA calls last week, and I see that we're up like $3-4 in the pre-market session. So this is the K-Web. This is basically the mutual fund, the ETF that aggregates JD, Baidu, Pinduoduo. And so, we've been watching these Chinese stocks really be in a huge bear market for a long time. But you can see now that we're starting to see maybe, a bottom. And I think this could be a meaningful bottom. Again, I look at the price action. I look at, certain things, how made a new low, close at the high, made a new low, close at the high, made a new low, close at the high, made a new low, close at the high. Now, these are weekly bars. So, every time we get down into this area, by the end of the week, the buyers are in control. So now, you've kind of got this little, wedge going on down here. And I think you had a bit of a bear trap where I think anybody who chased these lows is not going to be seeing them anytime soon. And, I could see this thing, if it starts coming out of here, we could start seeing some upward momentum. Now, everything's been bad out of China, GDP, they've had lockdowns, they've had all this, but eventually those lockdowns and all those things are going to end. And remember, the market is an anticipatory mechanism. It's not about today. It's about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. So the market will start moving ahead of events. And so maybe it's an early call. What's that?
Tomorrow. The lockdowns are ending tomorrow in Shanghai.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. I mean, eventually it has to end. And, GDP has been crunched, and now there's noise of, China, Taiwan, US tensions, and all of that background noise, which seems terrible. It is terrible, but the markets are this perverse mechanism. So we have to look at the markets and try not to be these geopolitical geniuses. So I'm just seeing, all of this stuff, these bottoms, as, gives you cover. These key reversals to me kind of tell me where my risk is. So, I think, the K-Way is up about $1.50 now in the pre-market. But, I'm like now looking at this low, wherever this is at $24. Now we're at 28. And I would start, building positions in here with the view that, these lows are probably going to hold $22, $23, whatever it is. And so, this is a conservative way to make a play on these Chinese stocks. It's a, slow mover, but it's, it's up 3, 4, 5% today.
What kind of price action would be looking at for it to fail and this just be some nonsense rally?
To take out those lows at, $23, $24. So, if it takes out those weekly lows, then, so it's the same thing on BABA here, where you've kind of got all of these lows in here. So this low was 71, 77. Last week was 79.88 or, thereabouts, call it, 79.50. So now we're at 93.50, and actually it's up about $4 today. So I would look at, 79 as a failure. So, here again, you've got this giant downtrend, but like all good things, things do end. And so, any violation of this kind of downward trend line up about, what are we talking about? 110. But even, in the more kind of recent thing, you're kind of getting this little wedge like you do in K-Web. And, I just kind of put boundaries and structures and then see how prices play around here. This in and of itself is not really a reversal price pattern, this little triangle here. But, when I start again, like the K-Web, where you start seeing, at a low, how does price behave at a low? So, if you look at the pound New Zealand dollar, it had, all the way back in 2016, it had this bar. It was like 1,000 pip bar. It was a reversal, but it took a whole bunch of time for the thing to start going. But this one bar starts like pointing where this is probably going to go, long term. Now, we may have to incur all kinds of, who knows what before this thing gets going. But, I started dipping a toe in the water last week.
So you can see, 45 is 1.3 million.
$1.3 million short.
So popped out a profit for 118,000 there.
So you can see how this is going crazy now. You can see how the market's just going nuts.
I bet like $1.6 million on this position. I'm showing right now $23,000 gain.